Hey, Jason.
Hey Gary, how are you doing? It's good to see you, and I love your
I
background. Looks very similar
I
to
love
mine.
yours. Yes, this is where I would love to be.
Yeah,
It's kind of a positive visualization that we're out
it
of
is
this.
absolutely, and this is exactly where I'd like to be. I should have been away at the weekend, last weekend in the UK, but obviously not.
All right.
So confined to living on the bottom of the Dublin mountains, which is still good, and the weather's still
Oh
fine
yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can get out there. At least you can get out for walks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still confined to 2K radius, but still good. So, how are things with you, Gary?
They're fine. I mean, look, it's obviously a big change. In terms of I suppose we were working remotely before, and we had that option. But I suppose it's dramatic change in the market, and
Of course.
having to be able to go out 2K, only in your area where you live. I mean, there's a lot of you probably find the same, Jason. It's a lot of getting used to different scenarios now.
It
So
is. I think,
yeah,
as we all know, the world has changed. But for me
yeah, it has.
now,
Yeah.
it's I'm looking inward. I'm looking at myself because I've had time to think, and I think that's the same as everyone. I'm sure you're the same, Gary. That's I'm really looking at how I can improve myself, the areas that I need to work on, and also other things that tons and tons of things that I need to work on for myself, but also for where I want to be now in the future. I'm sure that's similar to yourself.
It's amazing that you're saying that, because I think that's one thing that this, with all the horror news that we get on the terrible side of COVID and deaths and everything, and people getting sick, it's actually horrible to look at on the news. But I suppose we in a way we don't really have power over that, really. We're powerless over that situation. We're literally powerless over the COVID. But
Mhm.
one thing we can take control is of ourselves, and I think that's one of the things this has given me personally is more time.
Mhm.
And really, I wrote there in one blog about the reset button, and it's really given me a chance to reset and to look at things a little bit differently, and to look at everything differently. And just across, from the way I work, from how my health,
Mhm.
relationships, the whole lot. So it has been an incredible time, and I think you've actually made an important point there. It's a great time for self-improvement, really, and there's so much great stuff out there. You probably see it, Jason. There's so many people posting interesting information,
Yeah,
videos, free courses. It's there's so much going on out
I think
there which
it's
I'd never seen before.
I think, Gary, you've absolutely got a wonderful point there, and I think it's time to feed forward. And what I mean by feeding forward is to give back, and give back maybe some of your knowledge, some of your experience, some of what you're going through. So hopefully it would help someone else to do better at what they got in their own situation, in their own little world, and what's going on in their own mind. And
Yeah,
I've been coaching for a few years now, but I want to give back, and I want to give some time back to people on
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
if they have challenging situations, if I can add some value back, I think that's really good. I think that's always really good. Add some value back.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, because I think one of our main channels, obviously you use a lot and I use a lot, is obviously LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and I think that's turned now almost into a community. And before, it was a very different. It was very different messages that we see in the last month or so. The whole messaging has changed, and I think it's a thing like if I have a bad day, I'll go on to LinkedIn, and there's somebody there with something that's going to pick me up. And when I
Yeah,
have a good day, I can share something. And if someone else is having a bad day, and it's almost like there's a sort of a community spirit that's evolving, and know, I think that's one of the things about this particular time. And it's similar, like in a way, I think about 9/11, when I saw the way the New Yorkers got together, and they developed
hmm,
there was this incredible community and synergy. And I think that's what's happening sort of in a way globally now, because everybody's in the same boat.
yeah,
We're
they
all
are.
feeling the same kind of level of anxiety, like when's this going to come back, and when's the market going to come back, or when's people going to get healthy, when are they going to have a vaccine, when are they going to have, and there's so many unknowns, and the world is so uncertain. And I
From what,
think people pulling together, really.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It is pulling together. I also think it's time to build relations or relationships with people, old and new. And what I mean by old, maybe in the past 10 years that you haven't spoken to someone in
Yeah,
business or
very
in
interesting.
personal
Yeah,
relationships. I think that's
yeah,
hugely important, just to build
yeah,
that bridge to someone and go, look, whether it's bad or good or indifferent or whatever it might be, just say, hey, how you doing? Let's catch up.
yeah,
Let's catch up
yeah,
with virtual, just to see how you're getting on. We all
yeah,
resonate with people in that way, and I think it's a
yeah.
really good thing.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. It's just maybe calling the extra couple of people that that you have on your contact list that you may and haven't spoke to in a few years. And I think people are, and I find that as well. Even with clients and candidates, receptive for having chats at the moment. Like even clients, you'd ring them and they're fairly, they're talking about real life stuff,
Yeah,
and I think that it's phenomenal, the level of the deeper communication. And I was saying that somewhere, that there's definitely deeper communication going on about what's really happening in people's lives. And I said, like, if I'm having a bad day or I suddenly get anxious about the business or whatever, I can actually say that to a client.
mm-hmm.
And Jason, when would I ever been able to say that before?
No,
It
exactly.
was always like, oh yeah, it's always like, oh yeah, things are great.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I think
so
it shows a bit of vulnerability in yourself, and people like a bit of vulnerability because what it does, it resonates with the person. They can
yeah,
see that you're a trustworthy person and that you understand them, and it's all about them in the relationships. That especially in business,
absolutely.
it's all about them. Okay, you offer a service, product, or whatever you might do, but at the end of it, it's all about them and how you resonate with them. And at the moment, we all resonate with each other. We all have
Exactly.
challenging situations. We all been through it, but it's how we can adapt and how we can make a plan of now,
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
can we do to affect now, as
Yeah,
opposed to what we can't affect.
yeah, yeah. And I think when you mention now, that's interesting because it's about the daily routine now. Really, for me, it's like how. What do I do? And getting up, and I've seen you out, running on your LinkedIn. You have you out running, and I think that's a positive. And for me, it's the same. So you've heard it. Is it rituals? Is it routine? Is it habits? But really, since this has happened, I've created new habits, which I think are probably I haven't done in a while, in terms of maybe going out for that run, or doing those, looking at that YouTube video, doing a weight session, with
Yeah,
John Wicks or one of those guys, something just to get things moving,
yeah, yeah.
and making a conscious effort to come up to my desk and start working,
That's
and
important.
sometimes it's, yeah, like sometimes it's not easy. Like let's be honest. Like sometimes it's not an easy. Sometimes you mightn't be in the right headspace. But what I'm learning, Jason, right now, it's okay not to be in the right headspace, because we're going through something that we've never been through before,
Yeah,
you know,
agree.
and it's okay for you to have down days, and for days where you don't feel like doing things, and that's really what I've learned. It's a time where we need to go easy on ourselves in a way,
I think that's a really good point, and it's something that's been taught to me. It's just like it's okay to take time out. Like I know we all have to do what we can to get business going or whatever, but it is what it is. If you need to go out for an hour and go for a walk, or if you need to go and take time out to meditate, or whatever you need to do, or go onto LinkedIn Learning, or do something for yourself,
yeah,
and then get back to it. Or when
yeah,
your mind is in a better place. And I know for me, if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. I'll go for a run. I'm planning to go for a run this afternoon, and then
yeah,
I'll come back and I've got a presentation to finish off. So I
yes,
might be in a better headspace for that, or
yes,
whatever it might be.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's taking the time you need to get back to do the things you need to do. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you don't feel like, yesterday I was actually, yesterday evening, I was actually quite tired. So I didn't have that sort of energy, you know, and that's perfectly okay, because, you know, that's part of it, you know. And I think before COVID-19, you know, I would have probably pushed myself all the time, and, you know, it was never enough, you know. It was always like, I have to do more, you know. And, you know, and I think now, I think I'm learning slowly to say, well, listen, maybe that is enough for today, you know, and maybe, you know, that's all I need to do right now, you know. And it's just becoming a little bit more, you know, not putting yourself under, you know. And
Yeah, it's
I
that
think that's,
stress. It's that constant,
yeah,
I need to achieve, I need to achieve.
yeah,
And sometimes it's taking a step back and looking out of the situation back in and going, I can do this on a holistic approach,
yeah,
meaning time to take a breath, and you deserve a breath. I've known you for well over 10 years now, and you always seem to be striving forward. When I saw you when you first started on Adelaide Road, those many years ago, and you've sort of grown, you've moved from place to place to place, which is great. And our paths have always crossed. Might have been a year, might have been a 2, might be 6 months. A long conversation with you on the Lewis. Inadvertently, we bumped into each other and we was chatting.
That's right.
For about 30, 50 minutes on the Lewis, and then you get off and went on your merry way, and I went on my merry way, and like we bump into each other and paths cross
all the time. Yeah.
But it's good to take that breath.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
focusing on yourself and your family and others around you, and build.
Yeah. And absolutely. I mean, look, when we like, that's exactly it. Like, you know, board games, things that, you know, we haven't done in a while, you know, and, you know, all these sort of things, you know, that you can do, or get out for a walk with the family, and, you know, it can be great, you know, and this time, you know, and I think that's probably one of the key things I realized that probably at times I was missing was time, you know. And now I have a bit more time, and, you know, and to spend a bit more time, you know, with the family, and which I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying, you know. So, you know, and even spending time in the garden, you know, and things like that, you know. And I think, you know, not that I didn't spend time in the garden when pre-COVID, you know, but I'm just saying it's to become more appreciated of time. I think that's what I'm trying to say, you know. And you know, I think we're kind of saying the same thing, really, in different ways, you know. And you know, maybe when this is over, and it will be over, like, there's no question it's going to be over. You know, personally, maybe, you know, I would have benefited from it in some ways, and I'm hoping people out there are feeling the same way as you and I are now, and saying, yeah, maybe there is positives out of all this, you know. And obviously there's a lot of instability around, you know, the jobs, everything, you know. Even I'm a small business owner myself, and I can, you know, there's obviously pressures out there, but you know, it will pass. Like, it has to pass, and when it passes, like, maybe we've learned new things and new habits, and, you know, we'd be better in the world than we were pre-COVID.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we have learnt, and we can actually grow as a species, because it is a bit of a test for all of us, a massive test for the whole of humanity. And maybe it's a lesson from Mother Earth to say, hang on a minute, humans, you're only here on a small blip of time to reflect, time to see what you've done, have a look at yourselves, and make more of an impact on the world, that we can improve on what we do. And I'm not saying this to preach at anyone, but it is time for us all to reflect. And I hope that we all can see a massive change when we move forward out of this. And it will be a slowly incremental stages that we do get out of this. And I would like to think that we would appreciate the time. And I'd love it to see my kids remember 10 years time down the road, go, oh, I love that time when I spent quality time with you, and we did so many wonderful things together, and whatever else that we can appreciate going forward.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it could be a moment in time where, you know, while there was so much obviously hardship for some people who got sick, and people who are out there who aren't well, and you know, I know it's difficult for, you know, people, you know, have lost loved ones and everything like that, but then, and that's sad, you know, it really is. But then there's parts of it that it's saying, right, well, you know, for the ones who are fortunate not to have got sick, maybe they've really have grown through this, and maybe people who have got sick and got well again have grown through it as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's, look, you know, it's such an incredible time that we're here sitting on a Zoom talking about this now. You know, like, you know, who would have thought we'd be here sitting here chatting like this?
I know, and just being ourselves.
6 months ago, being ourselves, talking literally as we would talk if I was like on the mobile to you or on a call with you right now. You know, this is exactly what we'd be talking about. Like, well, we'd be talking, but would we be talking about this at this level? Maybe not. But
I don't think so. It would be
no, I don't think so.
Different, but
it would probably be about how's the job going, how's or you'd be talking about like how's recruitment going, and we'd be having that kind of chat, right? But now we're actually talking about how we manage our day, you know, which is a kind of and I think, if anything, Jason, this is the interesting thing about this, is that's the level of conversations that everybody's having now, which is kind of incredible.
And I hope people get something out of this. If not, they can resonate with it, or maybe take bits out of it. Or
hope so.
Just appreciate it, and just appreciate two people having a good conversation.
Yeah. And I'm really delighted you asked me to, you know, and I hope that, you know, something we've said resonates with somebody. And, you know, I mean, the only thing I can say is this will pass. And if you have experienced difficult times, you know, with your job or whatever, you know, things do get better, you know, and you know, things will come back, you know, where we will be able to go and enjoy rugby or whatever it is what we enjoy, you know.
Well, let's hope so. What one word of wisdom can you say to someone that is watching this now, that they can take forward with them and move on? And you said lots of words of wisdom there, we both have, but one word of wisdom that you can take and move on forward.
This time can be turned into something extremely positive for you if you just really believe that it can. I think it's belief. If you have a belief that, you know, you can improve in this and you can come out of it much better, a happier person, and, you know, with a lot more opportunity because you've grown through this time. I think that's the key, because more opportunities than ever will come after this, I believe, for you and for anyone who's going through a difficult time.
I totally agree. Look, for me, I think just be more present in what you're doing, appreciate the time that you have, like just focus in on what you can do as opposed to what you can't do, and just keep on that focus, and even write a list of all the stuff that you can do and appreciate in the time that you have. And then once we do come out, make a plan of when we do come out, because we will be coming out in the next month or so. Make a goal of 2021 as opposed to 2020, and where you'd like to see and what you'll be doing in 2021, because it will be slow incremental steps coming out of this. So Gary, I really appreciate your time with this. It's been fun.
Jason, I loved it. And listen, take care of yourself, and it's Friday, so enjoy the weekend. Yeah,
Certainly shall. Take care.
Okay, we'll speak soon. Okay,
bye.
See you.